With FM23 just around the corner now, it's time to start thinking about which teams you want to manage in the new game. This video is my 5 suggestions of teams to manage in Football Manager 2023. Simple. And welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Clayts, and today we're looking ahead to Football Manager 2023. FM23 is, about a month away from release now? And if you're anything like me, you've started to look ahead. You're putting FM22 almost in the bin now because FM23, the brand new shiny toy, is here. And, well, it's nearly here. So let's start planning. Let's start thinking about what our save is going to be in the new game. What save should you go for? Today's video, I've come up with 5 that I think are going to be really good options from a variety of different contexts, maybe because of the finances involved at the club or maybe the players they've signed. I'll talk you through them as my 5, but also as I go through this 5, I'd really like to make this a bit of a melting pot of ideas, a really good place for a discussion or some really good inspiration for people who don't know who they're going to manage yet in the new game. So in the comments down below, I would like to see your ideas. Who are you managing in the new game? Or if you've just got an idea of a team that would be really interesting to manage in the new game because of something that's happened to them, let us know in those comments down below. And the last thing, I've actually come up with 5 other saves and 5 other teams that I think would be really good to manage, but they're slightly more obscure. So if that's something you'd like to see, leave me, let's say, 1,000 likes on this video. That is a tall order, but if we reach 1,000 likes, I will make a video of 5 obscure teams to manage in Football Manager as a bit of a bonus one. Let's get into my first team that I think you should go and manage in FM23. My first team to manage suggestion is in Italy, the top flight of Italian football. It's AC Monza. It is in fact their first ever season in the top flight in their 110-year history, which in itself makes them an interesting proposition, I believe. You know, trying to survive that first season in the top flight, it's going to be a tough task, and I think a challenge is always good in FM, and AC Monza would be a challenge. Add to that a few other little bits of narrative that I think can make them a really fun save. The fact that they've sacked their manager recently after 6 games in charge in the top flight this season. So they're already panicking. They're not bottom of the league, and they've won a game or 2 as well already. But they've sacked their manager, and this might be because they're owned by Silvio Berlusconi, the former Italian Prime Minister, joined by the former Chief Executive Galani, who was at AC Milan, and things like this where there's this whole background, a lot going on. Berlusconi being in charge, how long can you survive with him as the chairman, the owner? That's interesting too. And they've also signed some pretty good players too. Matteo Pessina is there, so you've got a decent starting squad to go with. Pessina, they've got Pablo Mari, Patania the striker, Cragno the goalkeeper. So already they've got some decent players to begin with. They've also got this priority to sign Italian players, which might well be reflected in the club vision. All of this together makes a nice little melting pot of a fun little save, I think. Also, they did used to have Mario Balotelli, which I think in itself is enough to go and manage AC Monza in Serie A. They are suggestion number 1. The second team that I think you should go and manage in FM23 is back in the Premier League, back in England. I think this one's going to be a popular one for FM23. It's Nottingham Forest. Forest, of course. I mean, there's so much narrative around this club anyway, without talking about what they've done in this summer window. The fact that they're back in the Premier League, back in the top flight after not being there since 1999, that alone makes them an interesting save. Can they survive the Premier League, etc.? And then they went and did what they did in the summer window. They signed 22 new players. They spent over £150 million, which is, I think it's more than they've ever spent in the entirety of their club history in one window. It's crazy what they've done. Of course, they're owned by Evangelos Marinakis, the Olympiacos owner. This here is a true challenge. First of all, can you survive the Premier League? But can you do so by making these new players into a team that functions properly? And then just thinking about what happens in the future. Is the owner still going to back you? Are you going to be able to sign a load of players? Will they be given a load of money to go and sign players too? I think it makes it a really intriguing save and something to maybe do at the start of FM23 and see how easy it's going to be. I think this one will be popular, and I can see why. I think it'll be fun. Go and manage Nottingham Forest. The next team on my list is another English team, but slightly more towards the other end of the pyramid. Into non-league we go now, as I'm going to propose the Oldham Athletic are going to be a fantastic team to go and manage in FM23. Why, I hear you ask? Well, they recently became the first former Premier League team to be relegated to non-league. They were relegated from the Premier League in 1994, and since then, they've had a whole host of problems, eventually resulting to them falling out of the league pyramid this season going into FM23. They have had a list here. I've just got a few of them. They've had financial problems, countless wages being paid late. They even had Paul Scholes managing the club for just 31 days before resigning. They've had constant protests against the board. Abdullah Lemsagam is the owner and they've wanted him out for a while now. Can you go in there and get them promoted back to the Premier League? That'll be a hell of a rebuild, wouldn't it? And I feel like it's quite a rewarding save if you can do so. There's a real storyline there if you can manage to take them from non-league to League 2, League 1, Championship, Premier League. It's a bit of a long-term save, but I think it could be a really, really fun save in FM23. So Oldham are my third choice of teams to manage. The fourth team on my list is another one that I think may well prove to be popular for FM23, and that is Bordeaux in France. Now, this one I think will be popular because of what's going on at the club. They have had horrible, horrible financial issues that eventually saw them relegated to the third division in France. It was after they did finish bottom of Ligue 1 in the top division in France and were going to be relegated to the second division anyway. They were then, because of their financial issues, put down another league to Division 3. Then, though, they did appeal that decision and got reinstated to the second division. So they've still got all of these financial issues going on, and they will be playing in the second division of France next year. It creates this real challenge, really, of a team that is a very historic team in France. In fact, I was looking at their list of honours. They have won 6 Ligue 1 titles, played in the UEFA Cup final in 1996. They even reached the Champions League quarterfinals in 2009, 2010. So not that long ago, they were playing Champions League football. It can become another rebuild save, really, can't it, for you? If you go and take over at Bordeaux, first of all, can you steady the ship financially? Then can you get themselves back to Ligue 1? Then can you go and take on PSG, which is, of course, is very difficult in FM, get themselves back to the Champions League? There's a bit of a storyline there for you, and I love a storyline in FM. Bordeaux are my fourth team that I would suggest. And back in England for my final club then that I think you should go manage in FM23, this time for a slightly different reason. The fifth club I'm going to recommend is Southampton. And the reason for this is not because of some financial issues, not because of relegations, not because of some big storyline around them, just because of how many wonder kids they are going to have in their squad for FM23. They have gone and signed all of these players. I feel like definitely their scouting team must play Football Manager. Some of the players they've gone to sign, it felt like they were just going off a wonder kids list on the internet. They've gone and signed players like Armel Bella-Kotchap, for example. He is so good in FM, and the fact that he's now at Southampton means that they're going to be quite an intriguing team to go and manage in FM23. They've got Bella-Kotchap, they've got Romeo Lavia, they've got Salisu, they've got Livramento, they've got Bazunu. It's actually, the list even goes on from there. Adozi, I think of. All of these players that are going to develop and be really, really good in FM, and you don't need to go and sign them yourselves. You start with them, as well as the fact that they're not even doing that well in the league this year. It's going to be quite difficult to go and do anything with them. But what a fun place to start for FM23, as well as the fact, and this is no small thing, as well as the fact that they're still going to have James Ward-Prowse, who is an absolute god in Football Manager. I think it's just a really fun save. If you're looking for a save that's going to be maybe just a little bit of fun, I think Southampton could definitely be that save for FM23. And those are my 5 teams that I think you should go and manage in FM23. Of course, though, what I really want to hear is what you guys think. Who are your suggestions for teams to manage in Football Manager 2023? Please do get them down in the comments down below, because I want it to be a real source of inspiration for anybody who is stuck and can't quite think of who they want to go manage. Maybe one of my 5, maybe one that you see in the comments down below. Please do leave those comments, and most of all, have a lovely rest of your day. Subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this. There's also a like target that I mentioned earlier. If you'd like to see 5 obscure teams to manage in Football Manager 2023, you need to leave a like on this video, and have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.